Salam alaikum, Mr. Chosen One, Mr. Guide One. Mr. Guide One, Mr. Chosen One, Mr. Man with the One. Welcome, welcome. Today will be sort of a brief video because I will be going over um, the wedding of Cana and how that was actually the wedding of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, according to the scriptures. And so, a brief little history on Jesus and Mary's relationship. The earliest mentions of their relationship was when he went to Martha, her sister's home. Uh, Jesus was found in their home, and um, she was making food for him, and we're doing something for him. I forgot that story. I'm not on that right now. The wedding of Cana is actually in John chapter 2. Um, but that's one of the other mentions is when they were with Martha, her sister, and the fact that Jesus was around this woman and her sister. If he was a strange man, that would not be something part of the Jewish tradition. That would be seen as an okay circumstance, because in the ancient, in those ways, being a strange man around your women is not the way to move, especially in like uh, certain practices, Judaism, Islam, and stuff. Um, but the reason I say it was Jesus' wedding because the Bible points to that. So that's what I'm going to do today is show proof that the Bible actually points to here today. Um, points to that the wedding of Cana, where Jesus turned water to wine, Christian narrative, um, that this was actually Jesus' wedding. Um, hopefully, my last video, my mic wasn't really all that good. Uh, uh, if we can hopefully get a better reading audio of maybe the words that are coming out, because I even ran the video back on YouTube, and not a lot of them, but several words while I was speaking just didn't get through uh, each time I spoke. So hopefully this one here is um, this one's a little bit better. Let me just start by reading chapter 2. So what I'm gonna do is read verses 1 through 11. I'm sorry, 1 through 12, where it talks about this wedding. And I'm going to point out some key verses in 1 through 12 of chapter 2 of John that literally point to it being Jesus's wedding. So listen to this. And the third day, Ugh, I get it out. And the third day, there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. And both Jesus was called, and his disciples were sorry, and both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus saith unto him, they have no wine. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come. His mother saith unto the servants, Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firkins apiece. Jesus saith unto them, Fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he saith unto them, Draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom and saith unto him, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But thou hast kept the good wine until now. The beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. After this, he went down to Capernaum, he, his mother, and his brethren, his disciples, and they continued there not many days. Now listen, what I want to point out, right, is something key here. We're going to be reading, right, verse 9, verse 9 and 10. And if you were following me, we're in chapter 2 of John, and we're going through verses 1 through 12. That's what I just read to you guys. Right now, we're going to review what we just read in 9 and 10. Listen, when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, who did that? Jesus. So the ruler is tasting what Jesus made and knew not whence it was. He didn't know where the wine was. But the servants which drew the water knew where the wine was. The governor of the feast called the bridegroom and saith unto him, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But thou hast kept the good wine until now. Who kept the good wine? What good wine is he referring to? And who is the governor, right, saying this to? He's saying it to the bridegroom. Who had the wine that this governor is speaking about? Jesus. So who's the governor talking to? The bridegroom. I'm reading one more time. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and knew not whence it was, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom and saith unto him, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But thou hast kept the good wine until now. Who kept the wine according to the governor? The bridegroom. But where did the wine come from? Jesus. So who is he talking to? Jesus, the bridegroom. Jesus was married. It says it right there. By the way, I did read earlier in this video when you guys were winding, because I know with the internet, you guys are pretty incredible when it comes to scrutiny on things. The part where it says, but the servants which drew the water knew, that is actually in parentheses. So that means that wasn't originally in the scripture. That was added. Anything in parentheses when it comes to scripture is added text. It's context that the writer is putting in for themselves. Time. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, the governor of the feast called the bride, excuse me, called the bridegroom, and saith unto him, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But thou hast kept the good wine until now. What wine is the governor drinking? The wine that Jesus made. And who originally said that they didn't have any wine? There was no wine left. Mary. Who did Mary come to get more wine? She went to Jesus to get more wine. He says, But thou hast kept the good wine until now. So if y'all want to even go as far as to say, oh, well, the bridegroom is separate from Jesus, it's just a wedding he was invited to. Well, there's no distinction between who Mary came to get the wine. So if Mary came to Jesus and the governor is saying that it came from the bridegroom, It starts off her going to Jesus for the wine. Jesus turns the water into wine. The governor then says to the bridegroom, "You have brought the best wine." Who brought the wine? Jesus. So if it says the governor is talking to the bridegroom, then Jesus is the bridegroom. Hello. But see, Christians won't teach you simple things like that when you read it right there in front of you. Again, this is John chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And the verses that refer to Jesus being the bridegroom and the governor being happy with the wine that he brought is 9 and 10. Go read it for yourself. Don't believe me. Go read it for yourselves. It's the chosen one, it's the guy. It's the guy who wants the chosen one. It's the man with the picture.